Hello guys, and this is Alice Zard, and you're watching Masimo from Plus Track. In this video, I'll be showing you how to use Windows 11 and how to master it and how to be proficient in Windows 11. Now, first we're going to move on to how it is. Now, what is Windows 11? Windows 11 is a operating system released by Microsoft released by Microsoft on the 5th of October 2021 in the United States. Now, it has been the successor of Windows 10. Since then, however, people have continued to dislike Windows 11. They were determined to how Microsoft changed the look and how they changed whatever characteristic of Windows 11. And people also noticed a change between the layout and to move the taskbar freely around the desktop screen, which was the last version of Windows, was Windows 10. But since then in Windows 11, Microsoft has moved away from, prioritizing this method of moving the taskbar freely around the screen, which most people disliked. And that was the biggest reason of why people were going to dislike Windows 11. If you were moving your taskbar on the screen on the left or right or on that side like this, but not on my actual screen, but your own taskbar orientation method, preference for many years, and all of a sudden you're not allowed to do in Windows 11, and that is a major dislike for a lot of people, which are used to the freedom and used to the simplicity and legacy backwards compatible with Windows 10, 8.1 and Windows 7 as well, which is a stark departure from Windows 7 through Windows 10 up to a completely different even tier, which is Windows 11. And that was quite a lot of negative comments and lost reputation from Microsoft, basically because of forced sign-ins and forced telemetry updates and forced updates. Everything else other than that, Windows 11 was still the worst OS by a lot of people as well, even those who like the OS and who love the OS, even those, because they say that my desktop was working perfectly fine yesterday, but now it's not working today. My PC is crashing. It worked yesterday. People go along with a lot of those comments on the internet and in their personal analog opinions as well. Now, the reason why people need to, the reason why people are refusing to upgrade to Windows 11 is because they are facing with strict system requirements and with high spec TPM 2.0 chip with a modern CPU, UEFI and secure boot already selected in the PC's components and in the BIOS, which is a legacy BIOS, rather than a UEFI firmware. Now, UEFI stands for Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, while the legacy BIOS stands for, Basic Input/Output Operating System, meaning for BIOS is BIOS, and UEFI is UEFI, and most people say and pronounce it as UEFI, or even EFI is available. EFI is a second clone, no, not a clone, I mean a second version, I think, to no, not a second version. EFI is the first version of the UEFI codebase and the extension. Now, EFI stands for Extensible Firmware Interface, which Windows 11 strictly requires for it to run and boot up. If we run Windows 11 and we install Windows 11 on an old PC from 2019 or 2016, I think, with its own BIOS, meaning an old EFI or a normal BIOS configuration setting, that Windows 11 would simply refuse to launch, meaning the installation will be installed that will refuse to launch. And that is the reason why you should be able to understand how we can use and consider what Windows 11 is and what can impact our computing capabilities. And that is how we can continue about it. Now we're moving on to the wallpapers. Now here, in Windows 11, you will notice the wallpaper is the flower bloom wallpaper of Windows 11, which is mainly the default wallpaper shipped in Windows 11 PCs and laptops and etc. Now, what if we explore the context menu here? Now I've changed my context menu to my familiar Windows 10 or Windows 7 context menu because I find it a lot more easier to use rather than the manual and frustrating loads of the Windows 11 context menu. What if we change the wallpaper here? Now you go to the background, and here, since I have Windows XP wallpapers here, I would show the Windows Spotlight. In the Windows Spotlight, you will find this. The wallpaper is quite nice. This is the same wallpaper which I found when I first bought this new laptop, the HD 2026 laptop, which I have bought new brand from Very while in the UK. Now, the wallpaper is kind of nice and is very, very nice and beautiful. And that's what it's like. What if we move on to slideshow? You'll find that the slideshow means the wallpaper switches its images and it's changes whatever it does, meaning it switches between images constantly. And what we move on to the dark mode. Now this is the dark mode here, and you can see that the start menu is kind of like dark mode here. And what if I it changes the cursor, also the cursor as well. What if I change the context menu here? It does not change to dark mode. Instead, you'll need to go into the full dark mode, okay? And that was what is going to be expected. When I right click, it has view sort by refresh, etc. is of Windows 10s and Windows 7s. But in Windows 11, you need to right click and you need to interact with the Fluent Design context menu. Now the start menu is revamped in the dark mode. the text is quite easy to see, you see here, and the wallpaper is having its deep blacks. And while CRT monitors have deep blacks, LED has deep blacks as well, because they are advanced significantly, while the LEDs struggle to replicate the warm phosphor glow of CRT monitors and zero motion blur and zero input lag, etc., which LCDs mainly have, but CRT monitors which does not have. Now, I'll move on to this one here. Now this one is kind of very nice as well. You can see here, now I'm comfortable with Windows 11, with its design and themes. And then here you find taskbar alignment. Now this is currently on the left. Bottom side of Windows 11 installations is on the center. And you have the option to change to the left or to the middle. You cannot put the taskbar on the edges and the sides of the screen like in Windows 10. And you can't go and do other changes like you can do in Windows 10, because Windows 11 and Windows 11 is completely different from Windows 10 and Windows 7 as well, and that's why you need to bear that in mind when you're doing things. Next, I would try to find how do I make my taskbar smaller. Now I would enable the search, and you can see here I'm enabling all of the features of Windows 11 since I made it default. And you can also do combine taskbar and high labels never. And what if I try to make the taskbar smaller? Well, there we go with fan anyway. It's always okay. There's no right click and then properties and then check usable taskbar icons. Or going to settings, then going to taskbar, searching for taskbar in the search bar, then going to there, and then enabling usable taskbar. Like in Windows 10 and Windows 7. I knew as well have to adapt to Windows 11, because we all know that we find Windows 11 as difficult to use, but still easy to use, but it's relatively difficult. And now the taskbar edge has not been decreased like in Windows 10, where the taskbar size is a bit decreased, and in Windows 7 as well, because they both are very different from Windows 11. Now I'm going to click on never, and then I would click on always. But if I click on when the taskbar is full, it combines. When I click always, it does not show the text and icon label. Okay, and that's what we're going to do. And everything is familiar as well, you know. the Windows 11 Start menu and the taskbar, etc. on this orientation is, you know, it's default on many Windows 11 installations. Like we have millions and billions of Windows 11 installations around the world on every PC and laptops, and even tablets as well. Because all people have a tablet-based laptop, while most people have a mouse and keyboard-based PC and a laptop. They also have a touchscreen as well, like the HP AIO PC. It has a touchscreen with a keyboard and mouse, providing both inputs. Like three inputs. And what if we explore the task manager? Now I'll right click task manager. And this is the task manager. You can see here, it shows you the CPU, the number of apps, name statuses, etc. of the memory, disk, network. And I'll run a new task, and what we have: view, group by time, expand all, collapse. And also the task manager looking at, we have to show what is Windows 11 look like. Now with the Microsoft Store data, we'll take a look around the Microsoft Store. And you can see everything else is perfect. As you can see here, it loads snappy. It loads less than a millisecond. We also got Roblox and eFootball as well. We have CapCut, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, blah blah blah. ChatGPT, Netflix, Discord, Chatverse, ChatGPT Classic, Telegram, etc. I would not recommend it to install the WhatsApp beta because it's pre-release and it's buggy. I recommend you to install the normal WhatsApp. And this is the app for YouTube. You download YouTube's you download YouTube videos, etc. And you install Zoom Workplace, Microsoft Photos, Adobe DT, iTunes, etc. You have more and more of those here. If I install Visual Studio Code, and it's building web, desktop, mobile applications, etc. That's good. And it's processing the space, and I'll back because I've shrinked my video currently in Camtasia Studio. That's why I'll pause the video, I'll stop this video, and now I'll be back into what's on. Then I Visual Studio Code installed. Now this is on my desktop. No, it's not. I wanted to move into the desktop, but instead I have to right click, open file application in order to move it to my desktop. I'll right click, I'll copy this, close window, and then I'll paste. And there we go. I would open this application or the program. And I would welcome to VS Code. I'll close it up. You also have the account name and Wi-Fi, so I need to use Copilot. That's it. And I've got a new file. Everything is still manual and still command prompt my type. but you can still learn how to use VS Code and how to make your own website and your own software, etc. You also can build with agent. There's another thing here in AI. In Visual Studio Code, where it's not available in Visual Studio 2019, 2016, etc. And with Paint here, I would go to, and then I would maximize this, and then I would only do a test paint. I would draw a test paint, and then I would draw a PC here, and then I would click on save to see my work. And you can also change the colour if you want. Save. Next, I would show you the control panel for Windows 11. Okay, the icons change. We go to the control panel, and there we go. Next, we're going to go to the hardware and sounds. The sound, manage all devices, sounds. And that's how Windows 11 looks like. But the sounds are much softer and much more deeper rather than the alertness of Windows 7 and Windows 10 sounds, which most people was alerted because they're louder and they were much more attractive rather than the Windows 11s. Because it's deemed much more relaxing and much more calmer than most people were annoyed about. Next we go to the CapCut here. And here you can create a project if you want, boys. Just subscribe. Still, that's how we use Windows 11. Firefox works, etc. And then there's how we use Windows 11 now. Here, the desktop is very nice. Look. And you can see the taskbar is good, everything is good, everything else. We have the calendar as well. Also, we have the last thing, we have the calendar. If we look at the navigation, you go to navigation settings. And then you customize notifications of how would you customize it to your needs. Okay. On Windows 11. And if I clear all, and then I would go to do not disturb on and do not disturb off. Okay, I'll keep it off. And then I will also check the time. 30 minutes. Next thing I would it runs a timer program, but for me to reset it, and then I would reset it, I'll close. And still, that's how we do more about Windows 11, and I'll make more and more videos about Windows 11 that you can be proficient at. Like installing apps, customize Windows 11, and, I can do more and more about Windows 11, and that's pretty much it for the video. And thank you for watching the video, and like and share, subscribe, and see you in the next one, and see you in the next video.